Hi there, I'm Raymond Mearns, and this is the first of my podcasts. I hope to be doing them quite regularly, and as you hear, I hope to be doing them far more professionally. I'm joined in this podcast by the amazing Michael Mearns, who's producing it, and my good friend and collaborator, Bryan McManus. I really hope you enjoy it. We were going to edit it properly and do all that, but we thought we'd let you hear how kind of chaotic it is. Now, enjoy this, but it's no bad, but the next one, it'll have music, dancing girls, everything. Enjoy. Thanks very much. Right, you can talk about that.
I've not been in for one yet.
Right, is that the soul calf now?
Mm-hmm. It's just that sometimes it's like getting all shaky and all that, and then it's like tracking and stuff like that. I'm just trying to get a good position.
Right, you can hear me okay? Can you hear Bryan?
Mm-hmm.
Right, it's going to be pristine, crystal clear.
Aye,
Right.
It's clear now.
Your arm's going to get sore, wouldn't it?
Aye.
But it's the only way I can keep it with them being clear.
Do you want a mic stand?
Have you got a mix on?
Yes. Right. Does that sound alright?
Yeah.
Right, there you go. Fucking professional setup. Professional setup or what? Right, okay, my name's Raymond Mearns.
And I'm Bryan McManus.
And this is the first podcast I've ever been involved in. I know you've done podcasts before, Bryan, and I'm clearly no doing the right thing, because I had all the plaster of Paris mixed, and when you came in, I had my boys in the plaster of Paris mix, thinking I was going to make a podcast, because that's what a podcast. I don't know what that is. So you've made podcasts before. I've never made a podcast before, and it's just basically us talking and see what comes up. But we're going to talk about positivism.
Yeah.
And it's an ism. Positivism is an ism, and what it is, I think it.
Is it a real word, or have you just stuck ism?
Positivism.
Positive?
No, I think positivism, and ism, it's like something that belongs to us. Aye, it's like Thatcherism, isn't it? Like, aye, it's a real word. People know what we mean. No, it's not a word I made up. It's a real word. I'll just turn this phone off. We can't have phones ringing during a podcast. That's just unprofessional. Right, ask me that again.
What was it again? Aye. Is that a real word, or have you just stuck ism on the end of positive?
No, I've heard that word before. It means to be to do with positive. You know, positivism, a way of living.
Right,
To be
right.
positive. It's like, I'll give you an example, right? When you phoned me up and says, should we make a podcast? I was kind of going, I don't know, I'm not too sure, I've never made one before. That's not
What
very
makes you
positive.
boss?
It's a bit negative, or it's a bit unsure. But then I went, aye, alright, let's do it, that's positive, and that's an ism, it's how you feel. That's a real word. That's a real word.
That's good.
What do you understand by the term?
I understand it's a real word now, and that we're going to be positive about making a cracking podcast.
A cracking podcast about positivism. See, the thing is, you're supposed to be positive now. This is the whole point. This is Western civilization is founded on the notion of being positive, and we're trying to. We spend millions of pounds on gurus. These gurus, and we have people like Jack Black, no, the actor, that Scottish guy that used to be a mad alky, and.
Was he?
He was a mad alky. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I don't want to. Can we say this? Right, we'll need to edit that one out. So, positivism. People spend millions of pounds on gurus. You know,
Yes.
people like Jack Black, Anthony Robbins, Deepak Chopra, people like that. All these people that basically.
Zig Ziglar.
Who?
Zig Ziglar.
Him.
Aye.
And what's that other guy's name? The Dalai Lama, that guy. I've read a few of his books. In fact, I fully
He's
have.
the kind of higher echelons of guru-ness.
Guruism. Guru.
He charges a bit less than Jack Black, though.
He does. It's clearly no, because he doesn't need much clays. He's just running about in a bedsheet. But that's the thing, we're not supposed to be positive. They say if you be positive, then you'll completely change your life. That's the whole point, that all the problems in the world are due to negativity, negativism, negative equity, negative growth, negative this, that, the next thing.
Can you have a negative-ism?
As negativism is people who are being negative, it's the opposite of positivism.
Getting the hang of this thing.
So that's the thing. So I used to be a salesman, right? I used to be a salesman, and Well, I would sell telephone systems, right? And people would say to me, is this telephone system any good? I says, come on, mate. It's a phone this end, a phone that end. Can you hear me? It's brilliant, right? It's a can with 2 bits of string. It's a phone system. Aye, it does what it says in the tin. Is it really good? Aye, mate. It's brilliant. It's fantastic. Now that sounds like positivism, but that's desperation. That's a salesman. That's you going, aye, mate, go and buy it. Can you smell the desperation of me? I mean, people listening to this podcast now can smell the desperation. That's no positivism. Positivism is when you come in the morning. Now imagine you were a company director or something. Imagine you actually had a job. Gainful employment, McManus. Imagine that you could afford to buy stuff, right? You had a job. Imagine even you were the boss, right? That somebody was mental enough to work for you. And you'd come in the morning and you'd go, good morning everybody, how's the job? Now, you're supposed to reply, fantastic, Mr. McManus. Everything's fantastic. This is another great day in the employ of McManus Enterprises. We are happy to serve you. Do you want a cup of tea? Right? And you'll go, step to it there, boy. Or whatever. I presume it was a dude that said it. Now that's positivism. Whereas if I worked for you, right, which sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. Sometimes you get some good ideas and you come and say to me, good morning, Mearns. Good morning, Mearns. How are we today? And I go, McManus, the job's fucked. That's no very positive. But in a funny way, it is positive because it's me affirming a very positive statement that the job is, in fact, fucked. And that's quite a positive thing. That's a statement. It's not a negative statement. It's a negative vibe. You see? Right. But it's a very positive statement. I'm just stating the fact that this job, quite frankly, is fucked. Now that's, the point is, that's telling the truth. Is the truth the same as positivism?
Clearly it's no.
I don't think it is. No, in this day and age. That's the thing, because that's what the industrial military complex wants us to think, though. They want us to be positive. Hello there, wee man. See you living in a bin. Right? See you living in a bin because you've tried to work all your days and you've lost your house and your wife's left you and your wains have all starved to death. Right? You just never done it right. You just weren't positive enough. And now look at you, living in your own shite. Well, get out of that negative cycle. Get your arse into gear and get positive again, my man. And then before you know it, the wee tramp's jumping out the bin, doing star jumps going, I'm with you, boss. I'm with you, boss. I'm motivated. That's the whole point. That's what they want. They want bams like that to go, yes, I can get back up there again. No, you can't. Just wake up and smell the bottom of that bin, right? It's nonsense. Positivism is merely a vehicle so that the powers that be can just make us be bams and enslave us and think that we are doing the wrong thing. When wife left you, couldn't have been positive enough. When you think you're a pure bam, couldn't have been positive enough. Your house got repossessed, couldn't have been positive enough. No got a pot to piss in, couldn't have been positive enough. You made redundant, couldn't have been positive enough. That's what they tell you. That's what all these gurus tell you. It's your fault. It's your fault. It turns out you've been shafting yourself. Turns out nobody else has been shafting you. Turns out it's been you all the time. Whilst you're in your work and everything's going back to your bin. That's right. So what do you say to that? I mean, I think that's quite a radical idea.
Aye, totally. No, I don't know whether I should tell the truth or just lie and be positive all the time.
I think you should do what you feel is right. I mean, is my argument so convincing, so compelling that you can't pick holes in it?
No.
Right, pick holes in it then.
How many tramps do you see jumping out of bins these days? Maybe that's why we get more bins in the street.
Well, unlike you, well, I don't hang about the bins, Brian.
Well,
so,
I'm familiar with that territory, so...
Well, I've got to be honest.
So obviously you've not got a job and people are proud of what you're doing all the time.
Well, let's go back to the original question. How many tramps do you see jumping out of bins? They may have deep vein thrombosis and therefore crawl out the bin. The point is, how many tramps are in bins and coming out bins? And tramps are, by definition...
Is that what gay tramps do?
Gay tramps?
Come out the bin.
What?
They've not got a closet.
Come out of the dumpster. Look, if I'm positive about one thing, there'll be no homophobia on this podcast, right?
That was the
but we're going to keep that in.
That was a positive
Producer, This is a producer, by the way. Edit. No, in fact, leave it in, but say I told you to leave it. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
I'm going to edit that bit out anyway.
You're going to edit that bit out. Aye, because that's just quite frankly.
Right. Really have a purpose for a tramp coming out of bin. It could be to declare his sexuality, because he's been positive, and he's kept that suppressed for all the... Maybe that's why he ended up in the bin.
That he was...
chucked his job and...
Because he was in a homosexual panic.
Aye. And he chucked his job and ended up kind of get down each rung of the ladder, and he's ended up in a bin.
Right, Brian, I'm going to take issue with this argument straight away, right? As an actor and a comedian, I have had quite some contact with homosexual gay men, right? And the idea that any gay man would live in a bin is quite frankly shocking. Now, look at the way you're dressed and you're clearly not gay, right? Gay men take a tremendous pride in their appearance. And I can tell you, if a gay man lived in a bin, you could eat your dinner at this bin, right?
Could well be the case.
We're not talking about gay men, we're talking about positivism here. Right.
You've seen a lot. Look at the fancy colours you can get for your bin numbers and all that now.
Your bin numbers?
Aye, have you not get numbers on your bins?
If I get numbers on my bin?
Aye.
The idea that I'm so insecure, I don't want one of my neighbours stealing my wheelie bin and giving me their wheelie bin.
It's all about possessions. These possessionism.
Possessionism. Possessivism.
But aye, people are so... They want to kind of, that's mine, I've worked hard for that, that's my bin, so I'm going to
No, I
stick
think
a
the
big number
bin's
on
the
it.
property of Glasgow City Council.
No, when you buy it for 75 quid.
Who buys a bin? Did you buy a bin?
Did you steal a bin? You
I
stole
was
somebody's
given the bin.
That's
I
not
was
had a number
given
on
the
it.
bin.
That's why you put numbers on your bin.
It's not my bin.
People let you steal it. But
I never stole a bin.
have you got an invoice to prove you purchased your green wheelie bin for Glasgow City Council?
No, I am green there for my bin. It's outside my house. I don't need an invoice to prove it's there. I'm green there for I stink.
Stick your number on it.
Stick
Just
my number on it.
Somebody will be off with that.
Somebody will for my bin.
Phone,
What about
we'll
that?
phone Glasgow City Council tomorrow and we'll say, how much is it for a wheelie bin? And they'll no come out and say...
Wait a minute, hold on a minute. This is a completely side issue from positivism. If somebody steals my bin...
They'll charge you for it.
Wait a minute, if somebody steals my bin, they'll charge me for another one.
No, they should have charged you for the one you've got there now.
I pay £2,000 a year in council tax. And they're going to charge me for a bin.
Aye. That's what happens.
That's not what happens.
It is.
I
That's why the government are trying to keep you down.
I think, ladies and gents, listen to this podcast. I'd like some clarification on this point. If anybody's out there listening right now, please send clarification on this point to Raymond Mearns at hotmail.co.uk.
Aye, cool.
Anyway, right, bins aside, the nature of bins has changed, and certainly in Glasgow, in my lifetime now. I was brought up in Easterhouse, and I know you were brought up in Darnley or Carnwadrick or somewhere.
Ardenne.
That's all why these scum places
A
are
bit higher class, I see.
a wee bit higher class. You were in the bins and all, McManus.
Colin and Justin get a whole telly programme at Ardenne. Don't get that in Easterhouse.
A whole telly programme at Ardenne.
Aye. 6 episodes, BBC One, Let's Start Up Ardenne. See the bins in Ardenne now, they're stunning.
I'm picking up a real gay thing, an undertone here coming for you. Have you got something you need to tell me?
I'm staying in my bin now. No.
You're staying in your bin. Right, no bother. The point is, right, I don't know about you, right, I mean, all you hear about now is allergies, innit? Sales of antihistamines. I don't know what an antihistamine is. Do you remember in the 70s? Nobody ever heard of an antihistamine. But then again, everybody had pelmets. But some things come and some things go. The point is, antihistamines. Never heard of them in the 70s, never heard of them in the 80s. And then my sister's head exploded in the late 90s, and apparently she needed antihistamines because her head swelled up like a balloon, and she was allergic to living or Catholics or something. Anyway, do you need to edit that out? Hey, no, don't edit it out. Anyway, by the way, I'm a Catholic. Hey, so, and the point is, I'm never ill. And you know this, McManus. I'm never ill. And I don't think you're ever ill. There was one night you had a cold. Do you remember you had a cold?
Aye.
We were supposed to get together.
That's right.
I'm no well.
Yeah.
And you're in your bin, sniffling.
Aye. It's freezing, wasn't it?
It was cold.
The lid was broken.
Was it? You need to get the lid. Maybe you should get the lid draft-proofed.
That's a good... Aye, maybe I could.
The point is, given given I'm never ill, and all you hear now is whines. Oh, he's no well. He's allergic to this. She's allergic to that. Oh, don't let her near cats. She'll die. Right, all that. Right. Now, I think there's a reason why this is. Everybody's dying at unbelievable stuff. You ever had a peanut allergy? Right, peanuts. Everybody's. Oh, don't give me a peanut or a kiwi fruit. Well, I never had a kiwi fruits either. Right.
Is there nuts in kiwi fruit?
Kumquats. No, but you can get anaphylactic shock off a kumquat. I heard this once, a guy in Edinburgh. It could only happen to a guy in Edinburgh, because the idea that anybody in Glasgow could come into contact with a kumquat is unbelievable. So, the point is, I was quite a prolific bin raker in the 1970s. As a boy, I would forage in bins for things like Lego, Action Man toys and pornography. And occasionally, under this, it'd be a barrage, a cack, wouldn't it? I mean, you don't just go to the bin, you don't have like now where there's bins for everything. I mean, nowadays, there'd be bins for Lego, Action Man stuff and porn mags, like. But in the old days, we just had a communal bin. It was everybody's bin.
In a bin shed? The metal bins? Or was it?
In a bin. In fact, the bin had its own house.
Aye.
Even the bin. Do you know the homeless problem? The homeless problem wasn't that bad in the 70s. Even bins had a house. I mean, how bad would you feel if you were homeless? You're on the streets and you go, that guy's got a house for his bins, and I can't even get a house. But that's for the next podcast. Right? We're going to be discussing homelessness. But if there's anything you'd like to discuss, then email raymondmearns@hotmail.co.uk, and we'll try and discuss it. And now, given that it's quite a new podcast, you're probably the only person listening, so you might get lucky. Anyway, just in case nobody's listening, I'll email myself. So, the point is, I think when you're diving about in a communal bin, and I lived up the same, they called it a close, or a common close.
Yes.
With some pretty choice people. I mean, I'm not naming any names because it's a public arena. But the point is, these people were minging. And quite frankly, I wouldn't even get in their house, but I'd happily go in their bins. Hey, or a bin. Now, a bin, which curious enough, was rammed to the gunnels with all the stuff that these mingers couldn't handle. Now, logically, this was their waste. Logically, I should have went near it. Logically, I should have burgled Sellafield. Right, I would have been safer. But I didn't have the bus fare to Cumbria. Is that where Sellafield is? It doesn't matter. Anyway, the point is, right, you're in a bin, you're foraging about, and then you'd find something, and the cry would go up, "Lucky Midgie," across the backs of Easterhouse like Tarzan. Oh, Lucky Midgie! And then every thieving rat bag for the whole scheme would converge on the Midgie.
Is it like wee meerkats when you see them on
like,
the telly?
It would be like, do you know, it would be like meerkats. I'd be go, "Lucky Midgie," and then you'd see he's coming out of bushes and all that, and he's coming out of windies, and like that. What's that? There's a lucky Midgie. Where's that coming from? Right, and there'd be a dust signal. You could always tell a Midgie raker would be covered in ash, right? So they would converge on the bin, and then it was like a gold rush. In the Klondike. No, that's not a gay thing. The Klondike's a real place. I'm not talking about you clawing a dike. Anyway, so bins. I think that's all we've got to say about that. So we hope you enjoyed our first podcast. I'm Raymond Mearns.
And I am Bryan McManus.
And I think I hope you enjoyed that. If you've got any more ideas, then send your stuff to Raymond Mearns at hotmail.co.uk, and remember, that's my personal invoice. I don't send any viruses or stuff like that.
But you've got your antihistamines, so we can send
Get
viruses if you want.
Well, aye. Maybe I'll just get my computer to rake the bins.
So that's where you found your computer, wasn't it?
You're a cheeky boy. Thanks very much.